Welcome back to the Nancy Levin Show. I am Nancy. I'm the founder of Levin Life Coach Academy. I'm an author, master coach, and I am your host. And this show is for high achievers, people pleasers, perfectionists who feel like there must be more to life than productivity and success. So if you have been wondering, is this all there is? If you sense there's something deeper, truer, more alive waiting for you beyond the next goal or achievement, you are in the right place. I am here to guide you toward your desires, to help you set boundaries that stick, claim your self-worth, and live a life anchored in empowered action so you can finally feel free. Each week, I offer coaching, guidance, heartfelt conversation designed to help you take center stage of your own life. No more hiding, no more shrinking, and no more self-abandoning. You belong here. Today, we are diving into something foundational, something that changes everything when you finally grasp it. Boundaries, desire, and the sacred act of putting yourself first. So first, we're going to start with a reframe because I think most of us have been taught to think about boundaries in completely the wrong way. Boundaries aren't about keeping others out. They're about keeping you in. So I'm going to say that again. Boundaries aren't about keeping you out. They're about keeping you in. They are energetic commitments you make to stay connected to your own truth. They're not punishments. They're not rigid rules. They're not walls you build to shut people out. They are loving containers that protect your time, your energy, your values, and your capacity to show up as yourself. And if you're someone who tends to say yes too quickly, who feels guilty when you rest, who finds yourself resentful and overextended more often than not, boundaries are the medicine. They're not optional, they are essential. Here's what happens every time you override your own needs. So every time you say yes when you mean no to gain approval, every time you push past exhaustion to avoid conflict, every time you contort yourself to maintain appearances or meet someone else's expectations, you abandon yourself. And that abandonment accumulates. It builds, it festers, it shows up as resentment, burnout, depletion, disconnection. But every time you say no, even when it's hard, when saying yes would be so much easier, so much more comfortable, every time you say no, you come home to yourself. Every time you choose to honor your truth over people-pleasing, you reclaim a piece of you. Boundaries are not about being unkind. They're about being honest. They're about integrity, creating alignment between what you say matters and how you actually live your life. And that alignment, that's where your power lives. So I want to take a moment here and speak directly to you if you are always doing, striving, proving, if you are a high achiever, an overfunctioner, if you are the one who always makes everything happen, you are the one who others rely on. You deliver every single time. You rise to meet every challenge. You meet every deadline. You exceed every expectation. People look at your life and think you've got it all figured out. But beneath that capability, beneath all that competence, is there a quiet voice that's tired? A part of you that's wondering what it might feel like to not always be so on? To not always be the strong one, the reliable one, the one who holds everything together? Here's what I've seen over and over again in my work. Slowing down feels terrifying. Not because you can't handle it, but because you've attached your identity to the hustle. Your worth feels tied to your productivity. Your value feels measured by your output. You've been conditioned to believe certain things, that rest is lazy, that desire is indulgent, that you have to earn your worth over and over and over again, proving yourself every single day, that the moment you stop producing, you'll somehow become less valuable, less worthy, less deserving. But here is the truth I need you to hear. You are already worthy. You are already enough. And not because of what you do, not because of what you achieve, not because of how much you give or how well you perform. You are enough because you exist. And slowing down doesn't make you any less. It doesn't mean you're losing your edge or your drive or your ambition. It allows you to become more fully yourself, because here's what happens when you never stop. You lose touch with yourself. You forget what brings you joy. You live on autopilot, moving from one accomplishment to the next without actually ever savoring anything. You don't need more external validation. You have got plenty of that already, haven't you? What you need is to give yourself your own attention, the kind you've been so freely, so generously offering everyone else. You need to turn that care, that consideration, that devotion inward. And when you do, everything will shift. So let's take a moment here and talk about desire, because I think this is where so many of us get stuck. Desire isn't just a want. It's not frivolous or indulgent or something to feel guilty about. It's the part of you that remembers what joy feels like, what truth feels like, what being truly alive feels like. It's your internal compass pointing you toward what matters, what lights you up, what makes you feel like you. But when you have spent years and maybe even decades performing, pleasing, proving, achieving, delivering, desire often gets buried, gets silenced, it gets dismissed, it gets pushed down so far that you might not even know what you want anymore. Or maybe you do know, maybe you know exactly what you want, but you feel like you're not allowed to have it, like it's too much or too late or too selfish or too impractical. But let me be absolutely clear about something. Your desires are never wrong. They're not too big. They're not too late. They're not too anything. Your desires are divine direction. They are the breadcrumbs leading you back to your center. They help you design a life that actually fits who you are, not just who you've trained yourself to be, not just who others need you to be. And when you honor your own desires, you're not taking anything away from anyone else. You're simply becoming more of you. And when you're more of yourself, you have more to genuinely offer, not from depletion or obligation, but from overflow, from generosity. So I invite you to start asking yourself, what do I actually want? Not what should I want, not what would make sense, not what would impress people or look good or seem responsible. What do I want? And then give yourself permission to honor that answer. So if you're listening right now and feeling something, maybe it's a gentle ache, maybe it's recognition, maybe it's something inside of you that wants to wake up, I invite you to take the next step with me. I created a free 5-day self-paced experience called Reignite Your Spark. And it's to help you reconnect with your energy, your passion, your clarity, your truth. It isn't about doing more. This is about remembering who you are underneath all the noise, underneath the pressure, underneath the performance. You will get 5 emails with 5 videos and a beautiful workbook and simple daily practices that will just take you 15 minutes each day for 5 days. Simply go to nancylevin.com/spark and you can start right now. nancylevin.com/spark. You don't have to earn your spark back. You don't have to wait until you've accomplished one more thing. You just have to make space for it. Okay, let's go back to today's conversation. If you've been looking for the next thing to check off your list, the next gold star, the next outcome to prove your worth, this is your moment to stop. Because all of that energy you've been pouring outward, all of that attention, care, effort, dedication you've been giving to everyone and everything else, it's time to redirect it back inward. And boundaries are how you stop these leaks. They're how you preserve your presence, your energy, your self-respect, and your capacity to actually show up for your own life. And most importantly, boundaries are how you begin to give yourself the care, attention, and reverence you've been offering everyone else. So boundaries are not about becoming rigid or closed off or unavailable. They're about becoming rooted in your truth, in your values, in your desires, and your own needs. So think about it this way. If you had a precious resource like fresh water, and there were holes in the container, what would you do? You would patch the holes, right? You wouldn't keep pouring more water in while it leaked out. Your energy is that precious resource, and boundaries are how you patch the leaks. They're how you stop giving your energy away to things and people and situations that don't nourish you, that don't align with you, that don't honor you. So start small if you need to. Notice where you're leaking energy, where you're saying yes when you mean no, where you are showing up out of obligation instead of genuine desire, where you are tolerating what doesn't work because you think it should. These are your starting points. Now, we can't talk about boundaries without talking about resentment, because I think resentment might be one of the most misunderstood emotions. You say yes, but inside it's a no. You show up, but you feel hollow. You deliver, but you're drained. And then you feel angry at them, at yourself, at the situation. But here's what I want you to understand. That resentment is not proof that something is wrong with you. It's not proof that you're ungrateful or immature or incapable of being a good person. Resentment is proof that something is misaligned. It's proof that you're betraying yourself, often silently, often repeatedly, often in ways you've convinced yourself are noble or necessary. Resentment is your body's way of saying, hey, this isn't working. This doesn't feel right. This is costing too much. Resentment is information. It's a signal. It's a messenger. So when resentment arises, and it will, get curious. Ask yourself, what did I agree to without checking in with myself first? What am I tolerating because I think I should? What boundary am I not setting because I'm afraid of the response? What would it look like to choose myself here? Resentment rising is a telltale sign a boundary needs to be put into place. Boundaries are not the enemy of relationships. In fact, they're the entry point to honest ones. Because when you stop abandoning yourself to keep the peace, when you stop contorting yourself to fit into someone else's expectation, when you start showing up as your actual self with your actual needs and your actual limits, you create space for real connection, not the performative kind, not the transactional kind, the real kind, the kind where both people get to show up in their wholeness and their fullness. So if you've ever said, I'll rest when this is done, or once I get through this, then I'll take care of myself, or after this project, after this season, after this milestone, I'll slow down. I want you to know you're not alone. But that finish line keeps moving, doesn't it? There's always another thing, another need, another deadline, another expectation, another goal just beyond this one. And meanwhile, your life is passing you by. And here's the hard truth. There's no amount of achievement that will give you the feeling of being enough if you don't claim it for yourself right now. You will never accomplish your way into worthiness. You will never achieve your way into permission to rest. You will never produce your way into deserving care. Because enough is not a destination, it is a decision. It's something you claim for yourself, not something you earn through external validation. So I offer you this truth, and I want you to really let it land. You do not need to wait. You don't need permission from anyone else. You don't need to justify your rest, your joy, your space, your desires, your boundaries. You get to be enough right here in this moment with nothing left to prove. Not someday, not after you've accomplished one more thing, not when you finally get it all right. Now. You are enough now. And the moment you claim this, the moment you decide this, everything changes. And it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to overhaul your entire life or set massive boundaries all at once. You can begin reclaiming yourself in small, powerful ways. Practice saying, "I'll get back to you," instead of immediately saying yes when someone asks something of you. Give yourself time to check in with yourself before committing. Put one thing on your calendar this week that is just for you, not productive, not obligatory, just something that nourishes you. Block it out like it's an important meeting, because it is. Cancel something you said yes to out of guilt, and notice how it feels to choose differently. Notice the discomfort, notice the relief, notice what shifts. Ask yourself in the morning, what do I need today? And then honor that. These are not selfish acts, they are sacred ones. You're retraining your nervous system to feel safe in being, not just doing. You're learning to recognize your own needs before racing to meet everyone else's. You're practicing integrity, alignment between what you say matters and how you actually live. And you are beginning to live, not from fear, not from obligation, not from performance, but from self-honoring, from truth, from wholeness. This is how it begins. One breath, one pause, one boundary, one act of self-prioritization. This is how it builds. So I invite you to just take a breath here and imagine a life where you are not rushing from one thing to the next. A life where your no is clear and confident and doesn't require justification. A life where your yes is full and free, given because you want to give it, not because you have to. A life where you stop performing and start being. A life where you know your worth is not tied to your productivity, where you can rest without guilt, where you can desire without shame, where you can set boundaries without apology. All of this is possible. And you don't need to wait until some mythical after to claim it. You can begin this right now with one breath, with one pause, with one boundary, with one act of choosing yourself. This is how it begins. This is how everything changes. I'm so grateful you chose to spend this time with me today. And if your spark has felt dimmed by overgiving, overachieving, or simply forgetting what makes you feel alive, I invite you to join me for Reignite Your Spark. It's my free 5-day experience to help you come back to you with gentleness, presence, and power. You can begin right now at nancylevin.com/spark. And if this episode spoke to you, please subscribe to the show, leave a review, Share it with someone who's ready to come home to themselves too. Your sharing this could be the permission someone else needs to finally choose themselves. And until next time, remember this: you are not here to be everything to everyone. You are not here to prove your worth through exhaustion. You are not here to abandon yourself to keep the peace. You are here to be you, fully, authentically, unapologetically. That is more than enough. Stay curious, stay clear, and above all, stay true to you. And I'll see you next time.